Alright, so I'm going to work up a little astrodoodle here for everybody and see who shows up. Who knows? So be patient. Let's have a look here. Alright, so I'm just going to add a little bit of color. Let's have a look. Let me just wrap this up here, tidy things up a little bit. Let's see. Jupiter with the sun. Not really. Jupiter with Lilith, I'm not going to mark that. But we do have a very stressful one here. Neptune with the sun here. And we, of course, still have a lot of stress with Saturn on the money sign here. So let's put that in. Alrighty. Okay. Don't need that. Greetings. Let's see. This is an astro doodle for today. Just for today, as they say, with, what is it, Alcoholics Anonymous or something. Let's have a look here. So I'm just, nobody's here. I think Path Traveler just showed up, but she's already gone out in the garden. And so it looks like there might be someone else here, but they've already disappeared or something. I don't know. So I'm just going to carry on anyway. I never had the chance to put out the, what you call it, constant contact type of email booster to remind people that we're visiting here tonight. But never mind. People come and go anyway. So this is the astrodoodle for today. I know it looks like nonsense to a lot of people. Let me just say hi first of all, just so that you know this is a real person. In case there's somebody new out there, hello, greetings, this is Tarot Lumination. We've been doing Sunday Night Live mini readings for a long time now. Still going. Whoever's out there who's interested, it really helps if we do it by PayPal. I'll show you. You can do it direct by PayPal to alittlebookabout@yahoo.com. That's my email over here. If you have your own email, PayPal account already, it's very easy. If you don't have your own PayPal account, you can still use online payment like this. For example, you can go to the tarotlumination.com site on another device like your phone or something. Go to the donate page, click the donate button, and that pulls up the donate processor just like, when you do Amazon or eBay or your utility bills or something online. It's the same process. And you just scroll down to select which card and what option you need. Okay? So that's that. In case anyone interested in a mini reading. Right, over here. Yeah, let me just go over this for a minute here. So it's the 19th of June 2022 Pacific Time USA on planet Earth. Now, if you're like a really upscale professional astronomer and you got superpowered telescopes and you could look at all the planets, not just the visible ones, but all of them in the sky, you would see a procession all across the horizon. If you're like way out in the desert or something, and you would see Pluto, Saturn, Moon, Neptune, Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Venus, Mercury, all lined up, like one after other, like all neatly spaced out like a necklace or something like that. It's very rare we get these things because it's such an even a lot of pretty even spacing. Some people read a lot of significance into that. It is what it is. If you want to look, all you have to do is look at the world around you, your life around you. Open your eyes wide and observe. Be prepared to observe on a huge macro scale, like looking through a huge microscope at planet Earth. If you imagine like you're an eagle, okay, Scorpio eagle, imagine if you're a Scorpio, and you can fly way up high in the atmosphere and gaze down at Earth, and you could see this. You would say, oh well, it's just another day on Earth, just another day in the procession of planets. We got good days, we got bad days. Right now, as some of you know, I've been going on quite a bit about all the global political stuff. and I got into trouble with YouTube. So I have to be, let's say, I have to really kind of curtail what I'm doing here on this channel, so I don't really know what I'm going to do now. We can still do readings. So anyway, what we have here, let me look at the sweet stuff first, okay? We've got some supportive energy with the powerful Earth vibes here. Pluto in Capricorn, Venus in Taurus, in a very tight harmonious link up here. So that's very stabilizing for like holding Earth together while it is going through massive cataclysmic kind of shock and awe right now. The way I look at it, this is extreme pressure here. Saturn in Aquarius, about what's good for the people, is being very, very tested now. And what they're finding is that there's a lot of things that's not good for the people, and it's becoming very evident on the global stage. You can talk about all the different conflicts across the world, all the financial chaos, all the environmental chaos, floods, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, lightning, earthquakes, all of it. It's kind of going berserk right now, and it's going to accelerate, honestly, because the way I look at it, we're looking at, this is a 7-year journey here, okay? And that's Uranus. It started here, what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. We still got, this isn't very well drawn out here, but we've still got at least 3 or 4 years to go with Uranus and Taurus. Hello, Tina. I see you there. Thanks for dropping by. And Uranus and Taurus is basically all about highly unpredictable, very spasmodic, sometimes frightening, disturbing, but also very awe-inspiring upheavals on planet Earth, with all things of Earth, Taurus, Earth, okay, the planet, physical reality. I'm giving myself a lot of leeway here with the astrology. When I think of Taurus, I think of the oceans, I think of all the land, I think of the mountains, I think of the rivers, I think of all the trees, I think of all the storms and the weather and the heat and the cold and the climate, and I think of all the animals all over Earth. I think of all the farming, and I think of all the people. Those are all the measurable, material, substantive matters here on Earth. Taurus is also about money, and Uranus in Taurus is all about radical revolution in global finance, radical upheavals, and of course that's what we're seeing. And without me going into any kind of rant about it, you probably have heard how the global markets are absolutely convulsing right now, and you can look at the leaders of the United States like Jerome and Janet and Joe, who are very much at the epicenter of the convulsive effects, because they are the, let's say, they are the face of America and American leadership. And American leadership is very much about the United States dollar. And, oh, thank you, Tina. Super. Thank you so much. And the United States dollar, as you know, has been ruling supreme across planet Earth for decades, many decades. And there was a time where it was even pegged to gold. So we had the gold standard and we had the dollar. And the United States economy was absolutely supreme and splendid and abundant. Now all that abundance has been squandered and is being squandered. And I wish I could do the, I wish I felt safe enough to talk about the reasons why we're getting so much upheaval and convulsions and what I consider to be controlled demolition of the world economy, especially the United States, and in the process taking down other economies all across the world. Basically, the nearer you are to the equator, or the more that you have poverty as a highlight of your country, the more likely you're going to experience damage and damage control. Yes, cryptos have crashed as well. Everybody's absolutely terrified. They're basically cashing out. Whether you're a multimillionaire or just living off a day job or something, if you've got money in the United States markets and bonds and things like that and cryptos, thinking everything's going to be wonderful, and you're like playing it like a casino, and then you're starting to realize, oh my God, I'm bleeding out financially. What happens is that people run for the exit. They try to cash out their investments, their bank accounts, their crypto accounts, and they discover that it's a little bit tricky, and there's a lot of, let's say, deception, fraud, betrayal, lies, manipulation, where people are just getting destroyed, roasted, burned, and their money was absconded and stolen. Astronomical amounts of theft and manipulation going on in the global economy. I've done separate videos about all that stuff, but tonight I'm really just here to do little mini readings. And I guess try to be a representative of the healing power of love. That's how I look at it. Some people have written in and exclaimed that things have changed on the channel quite a bit. It's just been a very gradual change, but I agree, things have changed. The things that I really like and that I'm proud of are the astrodoodles, and I'm trying to do more and more like daily little podcasts here, video casts, sort of like like a weather report, because it really helps me. But for whatever reason, I'm finding it extremely hard to build up the momentum and sustain the momentum. Life feels very much in some ways like quicksand, and I'm trying to be very careful, because quicksand is very dangerous. It's almost like the harder you work to try to get out, the more likely that you are to sink. So right now, when I see this little, well, it's not a little, it's hard to actually see it on here, but this is a big fat trine energy between Pluto and Venus. So this is very much about money and harmony with money, and I would say reality checks with money, and profound convulsions with money that are very appropriate right now. It might seem scary. Hello, Lesiele. How are you? The Pluto is in deep opportunity, harmony with Neptune, so that's very comforting, considering Neptune has a shadow side which is extremely hard to understand and manage. And Neptune is also in strong harmony with Venus over here too. In other words, the way I look at it, as horrific and frightening as it might be with global finances, global politics, global economics, and all the terrifying things that are happening in the so-called food chains and over. Oh no. Oh no, God. I thought I put this character on a... Oh God. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to hide the... I'm trying to... Okay. Oh gosh, we have a problem. Okay. Kylie, hi, yes. Kylie, if you can't pay now, please do. If you can pay now, please do. Put a nice donation. Do it through PayPal or whatever. PayPal is best, frankly. I'll show. Okay, Kylie. I don't recognize. Maybe you're a newbie. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit. Message deleted by Gregory Ross. Thank you, Mr. Ross. I'm trying to press some buttons here to eliminate the Tarot Destroyer as well. It's funny, just recently I reported Tarot Destroyer to YouTube directly to YouTube Community Guidelines Management, asking if they could help me to try and stop this person interfering with my channel. And the reply that I got was that YouTube was censoring my channel videos. So I have to be very, very careful. They didn't say or do anything about the Terror Destroyer. Anyway, we're still going. So, like many times in astrology, we have a lot of very challenging aspects, and we have some harmonious aspects. Sometimes there's leaning one way or more the other way. Sometimes they're evenly balanced. Right now, things are quite evenly balanced. Like, for example, it's almost like you can feel it, almost like weather, where you're living your life. You've probably soaked up a bit of news and gossip from various, social media sources or news or mass media sources or something like that, and you start to form opinions. The things that are very commonly reported everywhere are the insane gasoline prices rising across the world, the insane catastrophic implosions on the global food chain with all these so-called spontaneous accidents, like millions and millions of chickens suddenly dying for no particular reason, thousands of cows dying for no reason, thousands of food processing plants exploding and falling apart for apparently no reason, just another accident. And then you can go all the way back to the war in Europe and all the financial warfare that goes in the currency markets. Because the currency markets are absolutely brutal right now. Okay, you can look at this here. The way I see it, what is good for the people, we the people, 11th house, Aquarian energy vibes, is being seriously tested by Saturn. And Saturn is demanding that we have to, let's say, learn lessons and learn from those lessons and implement the learning into what does work for humanity. Because what's showing up here is that there's a lot of stuff that's not working for humanity. Okay? There's a lot of misbehavior in global finance. You've probably figured it out. I talked about that pyramid of power, and that there's these bunch of folks at the very, very tippity top who own it all and control it all. And we, the people, are literally nothing more than cattle to them. They look at us as debt cows on a slave camp, or debt sheep, or debt chickens. It's just factory farming of human beings. And, that doesn't work for a lot of us. Some people don't mind being farmed. I don't like being farmed. So I have a bit of a rebellious streak. And I'm trying to help others to understand what's actually going on in the world right now. But I'm operating with a choke chain around my neck. So I have to be extremely careful. Also, in the world of global communications here, Sun is in Gemini, and Neptune is in Pisces. There's a very deep, hard square. And so my channel is a living example of this aspect here, where I'm simply reporting information that I believe is true and honest, where it's being considered deception, lies, betrayal, misinformation by other people. Okay? So what's real and what's not real? What's true, what's not true? The whole concept of truth in reality, truth in reporting, truth in the media has been a big subject now for a few years, ever since we had the Sagittarius-Gemini nodal axis. And it's now apparent to billions of people across Earth that there's a lot of so-called information and so-called misinformation. And what's real and what's not real? Who are the arbiters of the information? There are people very, 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 very powerful, very wealthy at the very top They have their idea what is true and what is useful, viable information for the consumers like us. And there are people like myself who have pretty radically different or opposing viewpoints. And they're both valid in their own way, because the people who perpetrate the fraud and the lies and deception and betrayal believe they are coming from a higher source, a higher purpose that justifies their betrayal, deception, lies, and theft and manipulation and depravity. There you go. In other words, oh, okay. Oh, that's just how it is. Well, that is just how it is. It's time for people to wake up. Humanity really needs to be waking up. That's sort of what's happening here with the Saturn in Aquarius and the Uranus in Taurus. Most of the wake up is being felt like financially and with global economics and politics. You can see it. You can turn on like WeOn News or some of the news channels that I really, really trust, and you can see all over planet Earth what's actually happening. It's really important to keep your eyes open. Some people don't like to live that way. They prefer to live in ignorance and carry on in sweet oblivion, which is fine. It's your choice. I don't like to do that. I need to be acutely aware of what's going on out there, because the reason is because I'm highly susceptible to the shock waves of things that don't work. I'm also quite receptive to the supportive waves of things that do work. I just happen to be built quite sensitive in those ways. Okay? Kylie. Okay, let's put a few names on the board here. We've got a couple so far. Where did that go? So I've got something for Tina. Okay. Hi, Sarah, over there in Benghazi. All right, so I've got one here for Tina. All right. Thank you, Tina. And Kylie, let me explain to Kylie. Kylie, okay. I'll just sort of put a question mark because we don't know what the subject is or anything like that right now. Kylie, if you're still here, just pay attention for a moment, and I'll see if I can help you with this stuff. All right, so anyone who's interested, I can only handle about maybe 3 readings tonight, maybe 4 if I really stretch it. And it's a very, very tiny crowd here tonight, so that's probably all it's going to be anyway. All right, so, all right, over here, Kylie, if you want to, I like to do this by donations. It helps to keep the channel. I mean, I have to do it. I have to ask for something. I used to have a Patreon page and all those kind of things. Do Kylie first. Okay, no problem. Yep. So, Kylie, for future reference, these are readings by donation. And you can put PayPal money over here to this email. It's my email, if you can read it, alittlebookabout@yahoo.com. The other way, if you've got another device, if you're doing this on a tablet or a computer and you got your phone handy, you could go over here, for example. You could go to terralumination.com and click the donate page. That'll pull up a processor. You can swipe a card that way. So there you go. All right. Now, cheers everybody, by the way. Having a little beverage, keeping it very light this evening. The moon is going to be conjoining with Neptune in literally a matter of hours. So you might start to feel, let's say, almost like in a narcotic kind of condition, or or maybe a sort of a sensation that I would describe as like really soft and fuzzy. You might feel that there's a degree of disconnection between yourself and humanity and life in the world right now, almost as though you have become a cloud, like a little cloud floating around the Earth. And then, of course, moon will move into Aries. But for the time being, just soak up the soft, sweet, beneficial energies of this triangle. Let me see if I can illustrate it here. This triangle is allowing for people to feel what needs to be felt in what is going on with humanity right now. Because if you can't feel it, how are you going to know what's going on? You also have to reveal it to heal it. Saturn and Pluto are doing that right now. They're both retrograde. And they are doing the work of the revealing. They're like wrenching back the curtains to reality. Saturn is very much about reality. Pluto in Capricorn is very much about reality. And we have Uranus, North Node, and Venus, all in Taurus, all about physical material reality. If any of you have been watching my videos over a long period of time, you'll know that I have a particular interest in like global finance and how it relates to the planetary cycles, in particular the Pluto cycle, which is a very long cycle, about 245 years, something like 250 years roughly. So I talk about that sometimes. I often talk about the subject of money. And right now the subject of global finances is very much on the front pages because the nodal axis is here. Scorpio to Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, where everybody on Earth pretty much has money or has their money vested and trusted into someone or something else. And so your hard-earned money or your investments, your retirement portfolios, your savings account, your checking account, your money market accounts, your MoneyGram, a lot of people have remittances. They collect money from relatives overseas, people working in rich countries sending money back to their friends and family in poor countries. It goes through these third-party entities and ends up where the money is in the hands of other people. Now, in the banking system, you might not realize this, but essentially it works on trust. When you put your money into a bank in the United States, you've basically given them your money, and you are trusting that if you need your money, they will give it back to you on demand. However, what's happening across quite a few countries now is that the global banking system is becoming so unstable that the banks are opting to take your money as collateral, as coverage for damages. It's the same thing that's happening. Sorry, I spilt all my markers. Same thing's happening in the crypto world. There's a lot of theft going on in the world of other people's money. A lot of people have trusted their money, huge amounts of money, to the hands of other people who are supposedly money managers, okay, of some kind or other, only to discover that the money managers are fraudulent fakers and thieves and amateurs. And so a lot of people are getting destroyed. Look at the American stock market. It's down 20%. It's bleeding out. It can go a lot worse, by the way. If you watch some of the money channels like I do, the really deep, hardcore ones, you realize however bad things are right now with global finance, it can get a lot worse. And there's nothing to indicate that it's going to get any better. Let's put it that way. So protect your money, protect your privacy, protect yourself. I'm going to keep mentioning this for a while over the next 6 weeks or so because we need to be on alert. I don't know exactly how it's going to manifest, but when Mars conjoins Uranus over here, it's going to be about 6 weeks. Please be prepared for extreme volatility, perhaps extreme violence in some form or another. Extreme hostility on the money axis, where like financial warfare, but I would call it financial asymmetric warfare, where money, especially the United States dollar, is going to be used as a weapon much more fiercely and aggressively than ever before. And of course, that's going to have aftershocks and ripple effects all across the world in ways that cannot be predicted right now. Also, another subject which I can't really talk about much, but it kind of looks like this when it's illustrated. Okay? I can't really talk about it much. Be prepared for an escalation in global disruptions, violence, chaos, protests, financial implosions, okay? Just be prepared. If you're in North America, you might not feel the shocks as much unless you've got all your money vested in the stock market with people who do not have your best interests at stake. Then you might be hurting, but just be careful, okay? We're building up to this over the next 6 weeks. In about 10 days, we also have the Cancer new moon, about the 28th of June. So the moon is going to be over here and the sun's going to be over here. We're not there yet. I'll do some more videos before then. Okay? Cheers, everyone. Clickety click. All right, I'm going to go over here now. I just want to say hi. I'm not trying to scare people. All I'm trying to do is convey, like, what I would call important information that will hopefully help people to, let's say, position themselves to better withstand what is coming. And however volatile and disruptive things appear right now or have been happening in the last 2 years, remember the virtual bomb was dropped in January 2020. Okay? Think back to that time, and I wrote the book about all that stuff years ago, and precisely in January 2020, the bomb was dropped. A huge bioweapon was dropped. And it's still having ripple effects and shockwaves all across planet Earth. And they're going to try and keep that thing going because there are people who are benefiting out of the chaos. Please understand that there are more millionaires and billionaires that have been created in the last 2 years than any time before in history. Why is that? Again, it's stuff I'm not really allowed to talk about much anymore. Or maybe we should do like private videos or something. Anyway, it's all highly predictable, and I'm doing what I can to like give people like, I guess, an awareness of some kind. Hopefully you can position yourselves. All right, now, where did we get to? All right, okay, so I've got over here, we've got Kylie, and we've got Tina, that's about it. Yeah, so if anyone else wants a reading, I've got room for 1 or 2 more, if anyone's interested. But let's get started, and if someone else pops in, we'll go there. Let's put this aside here. All right. I have to put all this over out of the way. Give me a second. Okay. I've been getting a few emails from people across the world, different countries, just checking in for fun. It's really wonderful. I love knowing that we've got connections all over the country, all over the world. All right, Kylie. So this is just going to be a mini reading, and I don't see any notes from you. Private videos would be cool. Yes, Sarah, I totally know what you're talking about. I used to do a lot of things like that, Sarah. I used to have like a Patreon membership place where people would pay like $10, $20 a month, and we would have private group sessions, group meetings for advanced energy healing, energy practice, and like the sharing process where we can speak freely, we can speak about anything. And I haven't done that for quite a long time now, mostly because things, it's been, things started going this way, and more they went this way, the harder and harder it was to maintain the private Patreon club and community and do all the private videos. I really miss that stuff. If I can figure out a way to start it up again, I will do so. It's actually really, really fun. Let me just connect. Give me a second, Kylie. Sarah, thanks for endorsing the idea of private videos. To do the private videos, it takes, we have to schedule things, okay? Mostly I feel more comfortable doing things live. So that requires scheduling on a global scale so people can show up at a certain time live when the stream is active. And we don't do it on YouTube. We do it through my Zoom Pro account. And it's very private, and it's very effective, works beautifully, and we can say whatever we want. We can see each other if you want to. You can use your cameras and all of that. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so Kylie, I don't see any notes from you on the screen, so I will do a simple blind reading for you. Now, this could be anything. Typically, sometimes when we're working with clients, like Tina has been with the channel for years, and she kind of knows the routine. And sometimes people write in with a particular subject. What about the love situation between myself and Mr. or Miss X? What about my career? What about my health? What about my spiritual journey in life? What about my finances? Whatever it is, whatever the subject is, you can pick it off from a Western astrology chart. We cover basically everything. So what I say to people sometimes is, hey, if you want to put one word in, okay, something like, Dear TL, what are the messages that you have for me tonight, Kylie, regarding the subject of ... And you could just put in one word, like this person, or whatever it might be. Also, Kylie, just so that you know, in case you're a complete newbie here, I know there's thousands of other tarot channels now, a lot more than when I started, and a lot of them focus on very beautiful presentations, and it's all about love and relationships. It's quite different over here. For myself, the experience is more of a transcendental type of exchange between myself and the client, like between Tarot Lumination and yourself, Kylie, where the cards become more like a prop or a vehicle, and it allows myself as an instrument of the healing power of love to communicate directly. And so you might notice that I give myself a lot of leeway with the tarot cards rather than doing strict readings according to some of the ways that I was taught and some of the ways that I was studying years and years and years ago. Also, Kylie, if you want, if you got some subject matters that are very private, you can go back to tarotlumination.com. You can book a private reading, and we do that all through my Zoom Pro It's a very, very effective way to get a lot of work done very efficiently and effectively. All right, so let me pull up some card. I'm just going to use my Kylie. If you're new to this, I only use like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 spreads. They're all my own personal custom spreads. And that's just how I do it. Here tonight we're going to be using the Tarot Lumination situational spread. It's a simple diagnostic tool. That's how I look at it. It's very neutral. It's like pretend I'm here, you're over there. And you have a certain, let's say, issue in mind. Now, we're not doing fortune telling here, okay? What we do is, it's like diagnostics. You've got to reveal things to heal things, okay? I go on and on and on about that. You've got to reveal it to heal it. Problems cannot be healed or solved or cured until they are brought into full conscious awareness. So that's kind of what I focus on. And my situational spread is very much like that. It's the same thing as you, Kylie. If you go to an auto tech place, you've got an issue with a car or something, it's making weird noises or lights or something, you go in there and say, hey, there's something wrong with my car, can you help me? And then the auto tech will plug in their diagnostic machine, which looks kind of like a small, crunchy, heavy-duty computer. They plug it in under the dashboard and it scans your whole car, and then it'll tell you, we have a problem here, 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 and here. And then you can fix it, or hopefully fix it. Ellie Mae, I recognize that name. Manur Riazgadar, can I ask a question? Yeah, Manur, what this is like, we do mini readings here by donation. And also, if you do want to ask a question, please consider donating. And it's important to phrase questions in such a way that I'm not put in a position where you're asking me to be a fortune teller. It's almost better to say, hey, Manur, or hey, TL, what kind of messages do you have for me regarding the question of ... a person, my relationship, my kids, my health, my mom, my dad, my finances, whatever it is, okay? All right, let's get on with it. Tina Miller says there's a storm rolling in. The sky is black to the northeast. Oh, yeah. Hey, Tina, you got slammed, didn't you? Oh, Gregory, sorry. Oh, God, I just saw that, Gregory. Yeah, I think I saw stuff about how Montana and Yellowstone really got slammed with flooding. All right, so we got 3 readings lined up. That's probably all I'm going to be able to handle anyway. Hey, Ellie Mae, please type in the screen, remind everybody about how you are, who you are, where you are, so on. Sarah, yes, it really helps, yes. All right, now the cards are well shuffled in advance. I always keep them well shuffled in advance, but I also go live real time so that you are a witness. Okay, Kylie? So Kylie, it looks like you've gone very quiet. If you've disappeared or you're just shy about it, it's okay. Don't worry. You'll get to get your reading anyway. You can watch it on the action replay later tonight or something. Okay? You don't have to do anything. You can just sit there if you want. All right, let's have a look. All right, cards are well shuffled. Ellie Mae from Ontario, Canada. Oh my gosh, you've had a lot of upheavals over there. Gosh, I saw all those videos from Mr. Sunshine Baby about the big truckers, freedom rally. I think it was Ottawa. And now your so-called leader, Justin, has turned into a complete maniac. There's another lady who visits here quite frequently. Her name's Precious Moments, and she's over in Edmonton, Canada. All right, Kylie, here we go. This is it. Bless this deck. Bless every single card. Bless this channel. Bless all the softwares in the computer, bits and pieces, and the platforms, the internet, the microphones, the cables, all the lighting, all of the stuff that allows us to do this at all. Here we go, cutting it up. I like to have fun when we're doing this, okay, Kylie? So please forgive me. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the surrounding influence. Of course, I almost always default to the planets, but sometimes it becomes quite personal. In this case, let's see, the world. Wow. Okay, Kylie, my feeling is that you're kind of in an eyes wide open situation where you're going through some kind of very large but very, very subtle kind of awakening where you're looking at your whole life, your whole world, as if you are in a movie, where you are not only the star of the movie, but you are also playing some of the, let's say, supporting roles. It's like having a very big surreal dream where to me this looks like a very privileged type of energy where if you've had some extremely hyper stressful, scary things happening in your life recently or even over the last 2 years, which would be understandable, of course. Hello, Necessary. I see you. Then my feeling is that it's almost like you've got angels who are hanging out very, very close to you, but in a very subtle way. Like they want you to become aware that there's more to life than your three-dimensional existence of whatever it is, like food, cars, houses, jobs, money, school, relationships, dreams and wishes for, a better house, a better life, a better job, more money, whatever that is, all the earthly stuff. So Kylie, when I see the world here for you, what I'm sensing is that you're seeing everything as if you're watching a movie of you, and you're seeing how certain aspects of your life are essentially illusions, or they're redundant, or they are over, and that you have no other options except to kind of reformat a new life, a new Kylie, a new version of Kylie, where you don't have any definition yet at this point. But one thing you can tell for sure is that life as you've known it is, if it's not already coming to a halt, it is, you can see it. It's almost, sometimes when you have really big, vivid dreams, it's almost like you can see the future, or you can see yourself enacting in situations that are almost like parallel universe to your existing life, Oh, sorry, Kylie, give me a second here. There's a monitor over in this direction where I'm running the show, and I see the chat here. Ellie Mae's asking for an email address. Okay, here's the address. A little book about. A little book about. I created that email address because I was going to use it to promote my next book, but sadly it's not happening yet. ALITTLEBOOKABOUT at yahoo.com. Okay. Don't be scared of what I'm talking about here, Kylie. from my perspective, what's going on is that you're being given a privileged view, like an insider view of your own life and your own world, in such a way that if you feel it's imploding or collapsing around you, not to take it personally, it's just you living a life. And like things have reached like an end point. Everything is fully complete. You know, like when you watch a Netflix series, like Series 1, Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Series 2, Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Series 3, Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then that's it. 3 series, and it's over. Everything's over. It's beginning, the middle, and end. It's all happened, okay? Just send it as Lisa. Okie doke, sounds good. Alright, so Kylie, what's the message here? This might make you feel a little bit dizzy, or if you're honest, you might be looking at your life and your world and realizing, oh my God, what's happening to me? Or what was I thinking? What am I going to do now? Here's the situation. Okay, well, it looks to me that there's something going on with money where you know that you have to bring things back into harmony, into balance. And it's kind of, to me, it feels like it's kind of a reckoning. Like if you have unwittingly got yourself into a lot of debt with credit cards or mortgages or car payments or college loans or something like that, you're not the only one. But if you are in very, very deep and you don't know what to do about it, you might want to ask for help. Reach out for help of some kind, okay? Also, let's flip that around. If you have been very kind and generous to people with your time and your resources and money, and you're realizing you were perhaps being a little bit too generous, and it's time to be reconciled, that's kind of like the flip side story. And like, because it's Pentacles, it's like very much to do with money and reality, and you don't really want to like let it get too far out of control. Like if you are owing a lot, or if you are owed a lot, it's really time to get on top of this issue, okay? Maybe it's something to do with jobs. Maybe you are owed something on work or whatever, and somebody is, let's say, not, maybe they're not paying you. Some people call this like the beggar card or the pauper card. I don't see it that way. The main character in the middle is in some ways extremely fortunate in order to be able to be generous and kind, because they have the resources in order to be generous and kind. This could also be something to do with charity. Maybe you're starting to think of some kind of activity where, how can I help in this world? Realistically, how can I help? Something to do with perhaps, in my own life, for example, if this was my reading about me, this would indicate to me that it's time that I put all my time and energy and resources into animal sanctuaries and animal rescue. And that would be my gift. Hey, old son, greetings. Either way, it's time to strike a balance and get things sorted out with your finances. Either money going in or money coming out. And it's very appropriate too, because the financial axis for the whole of planet Earth, everybody on Earth, is extremely prominent right now. This is the axis of money. Taurus and Scorpio are the money signs. 2nd house and 8th house are the money houses. Other people's money, your money, okay? So, let's keep going. What's the problem here? Okay, it looks to me, again, we're talking about, looks like money and career here. It looks to me that The problem is that by nature, you love to be financially independent, and you want to be financially independent, and perhaps you are financially independent, or you have been financially independent, but now you're realizing that your financial stability and independence is perhaps threatened or unstable in some way, and that can be very frightening. Like if your life is very, very involved with material things and finances and stuff, and you've been managing one way or other, and then to discover that, let's say, your money pot, all the work that you've invested to create your own financial independence is starting to look very, let's say, shaky and fragile. Again, that would be very understandable right now with the planets the way they are. Okay, how are we going to deal with this? Okay, we've got the Ace of Cups here. So my feeling is that your whole reading here is something to do with career, finances, money, about the end of a life, the end of one way of life, but what happens next. And if you have lived in such a way where a lot of your life is measured by money coming in or money going out, in a very, very honest, stable, earthy, let's say, well-intended manner, and it's all getting shaken up for you in such a way that you're starting to question about what's actually going on in the world, you're not alone, okay? So to go forward, we have an ace here. It's the Ace of Cups. And it's a card of sacred opportunity. So you don't have to do anything with this. It's just being presented to you. It's an opportunity, the way I look at it, to accept the healing power of love. If you look at this as an eternal fountain, if you imagine yourself as a fish in the ocean, and everywhere you look, you're surrounded, you're swimming in the healing power of love, the question is, are you aware? And if so, do you feel like you are worthy? Are you deserving? Are you open to receive love, the healing power of love? Do you believe that you are ready, or that you are willing, or that you are able to receive the healing power of love? Now, how does that connect with money, or career, or finances, or your long-term stability? Well, my feeling is that there's a huge disparity between here and here. To me, it looks like it's time to have a complete recalibration of your whole life and your world about how you look at things of value. What is it that you really, really value? Is it money, work, career, stability, stuff, houses, cars, food, all these very solid, worthy, desirable things? But what this is, to me, this is indicating that, you see, like the Nine of Pentacles is a card of like fierce independence, especially with the female energy. It's very much about girl power and female empowerment, especially with career and finance and money. And if you've taken it a little bit too far, which does happen, I'm a witness to this, I've seen this happen, and believing that, let's say, having absolute financial independence where you are not intertwined or interconnected with anybody, that's a beautiful thing. You don't have to rely on anyone else or anything like that. But it also might have been like a symptomatic of taking it too far, where it's almost like you might have isolated yourself from your ability to receive the love energy in your life because of having been so, let's say, career like focused or committed or concerned with the I guess you could say, the material aspects. Another thing with the Ace of Cups is it's like, if you can imagine that it's like a faucet and you have the opportunity, it's up to you, it's your choice to turn on the faucet and allow the healing power of love, the energy of love, to come into your life and heal all of this. Whatever is not working here, you can invite the healing power of love to enter your life from up above for healing. And it's, in some ways, it's very, very simple. I don't think I can add more than that right now. I don't think this is to do with love and relationship personally. I think this is much more about a very self-contained reading about you and you. Seeing your whole life, your whole world from a new perspective, and how, without meaning to, you might have, let's say, omitted or set the energy of love aside. And now it's time to prioritize where this is actually more important than anything else. All right, let's have a look. Kylie, if you want a heavy-duty, deep-down personal reading, you can do that. You can go to terraillumination.com and you'll find the booking, the paying. Where is it? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. No, that's not it. Over there. Let's have a look over here. Hold on. Yeah, you can go to terraillumination.com and you can click on the readings page, the connect page. When you do the readings page, it'll connect you to a payment processor if you want a big one or a small one. Pretty straightforward. So, Kylie, I don't know if you're still here, but if you're still here, this is your mini reading. If you've already disappeared, it's here for you anyway. Okay? Let's have a look. Shuffle this up. Tina, you're up. Let's have a look over here. Oh gosh, I forgot to put Ellie Mae's card. Okay, that's it. I can't take any more readings. Oh God. Hey Kayla Tillett, there isn't really a free list. Sorry. Sorry, oops. I'm not an absolute mercenary, but I have to... there was a time where I was receiving a lot more money on the channel because there was a lot of traffic and advertising revenue, and I had Patreon memberships, and I was giving away a lot of free readings. I don't do that anymore, sorry. Right, now I've got a reading lined up here for Ellie Mae. I'll put that over here, Gregory over here, Ellie Mae over here. All right, that's pretty much it. To be honest, folks, I would love to be able to do 6, 7, 8 readings a night like I used to. I can't handle it anymore, at least not now. Tina, you're up. Hey, by the way, Kyla, thank you for asking. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for dropping by. Also, Kylie, thank you for dropping by. And there was someone, who was that? Manhur? Who was that? There was a person, Manhur. Yazgadar, okay. Yeah, sorry. So it's interesting. It's always fun to have newbies popping in, showing up. Tina, okay, so you've got a general health focus. Good enough. We can do that. Let me just shuffle things up. I need a couple of moments here. Now that we're kind of settled into the groove of the show, I think we can do that. I just need a couple of moments. Tina, general health. Okay. So, some of you know Tina. Tina's very active. She does a lot of healing work on herself. She's also a retired professional healer in the traditional trades. And she's one of the characters who does a lot of work on herself, which I think is a very healthy thing to do. It's like doing maintenance on a car. Okay? It's really, really important to stay on top of those things. And Tina is one of those people. In her own life, she stays on top of her issues. Whatever it is, health, family, finances, whatever. Instead of just living on autopilot or living living on your default settings from when you were a child or something, Tina actively is constantly fine-tuning herself day after day, week after week, year after year. It's work. It's actually work. A lot of people don't want to do it. I mean, it sounds kind of rude. Think of your body, think of your life as a car, as a vehicle. If you just get in every day and just run it until it falls apart, whose fault is that? If you get in every day and you check the oil, the water, the fluids, the mechanics, the lighting, the cleaning, registration, taxes, and insurance, chances are you'll have a more successful, happier vehicle. All right. I hope that made sense. But that's kind of how Tina conducts herself, which is a healthy way to be. Thank you, Necessary, for the support there. All right, Tina, what kind of messages do we have for you tonight regarding general health? Okay, let's have a look. All right, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. All right, okay. All right. Let's have a look at surrounding external influences. Of course, I almost always default to the planets. Let's have a look. We have here 3 of Swords. Now, don't get all despondent about that, okay? It's actually a Swords card. So it's very much a mental thing where, for example, to me it feels like it's an accumulation where lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of little tiny random things have been piling up and piling up and piling up, and they're being interpreted by your mind as something that is stressful. Now, the mind is an amazing thing, and it can work magic on even deceiving ourselves. Like some people, like the worse things get, the more they convince themselves that everything's okay. Because the process of, let's say, dealing with truth and reality can be like, it's almost like instantaneous. Some people just, a lot of times, they don't want to know the truth. I don't know, I don't want to know, I don't want to hear it. They want to exist in a pre-established, predetermined mindset or default setting of predetermined expectations and outcomes based on the past. And by, let's say, fixing yourself to a certain expectation or certain outcomes is almost guaranteed to fail. My sister used to tell me when I was just a kid, she said, like, hey, just don't expect anything and you won't be disappointed. Duh. Because I'm one of these people, I had massive expectations, huge ambitions, enormous goals, outrageous intentions. And it's true. I ended up experiencing tremendous loss and failure. Now, that's probably because I set myself up for it. So when I see the Three of Swords here for you, Tina, what it makes me feel like is that it's really, look at the rain. Okay, the rain. It makes me feel like it's really important to, let's say, look at your life experience right now, and if there's even the slightest bit of mental anguish and a sense of pain and suffering, my feeling is that it's very, very appropriate right now. I know that sounds awful for me to say that, but it feels to me like it's very important and very appropriate for you to acknowledge this information. Like if there are certain, let's say, factual aspects about your life where you can look at yourself in the mirror and do a kind of spontaneous evaluation where you realize, oh my God, wow, I really screwed up there. I really screwed up there, and I really screwed up there. And it's like a legacy of pain that ultimately you have to own. And there's no point in portioning blame out here and there. It's you living your life, and everyone experiences this to some degree at some point in their life. And I think this is very much to do with healing and the revealing to the healing. And it might become a little bit stronger in the next couple of days when the moon actually conjoins with Neptune in the global 12th house, which is very much about sickness and healing. I had a very profound comment sent to me the other day from someone I deeply love and trust. And she said that she's struggling with Neptune energy right now, where she is realizing she is actually using Neptune energy to heal Neptune energy. That's on the understanding that there's the two sides of the Neptune energy. The side of beauty and infinite love and the connection to heaven and the divine. And the other side, which is the absence of love. And that translates into things like sickness, betrayal, lies, deception, corruption, disease, sickness, perversion, sadness, and decay. Happening simultaneously. So how do you deal with that? You've got to reveal it to heal it. And so this looks to me like a moment in time where it's very appropriate to allow yourself to feel like the agony, the pain of some kind of incident, some kind of event in your life that was very, very painful, very, very, let's say, damaging, almost like the Chiron energy of the wounded healer, like a non-healing wound. I think we're going very, very deep here with the Three of Swords, where in a way we're doing a public reading here, Tina, but to me this feels like it's actually very private, personal, very intimate. And it's like a very, very, it's a very, very deeply sensitive part of your life and yourself, which has to be faced with, which has to be dealt with. Oh, look at that. I've just seen the chat. TL, you know my energy. Tina says, it makes sense. General surgery appointment referral. Aha. Okay. Well, the knives, sure, understandable. Fear of surgery, fear of going under the knife, very, very understandable. All right, so Tina, let's have a look at the situation. It's probably very appropriate that you ask for a health reading. Health is a very huge subject in your life because you've been a professional healer for 30 years or something? And now you're the one who needs healing. You are the one who is receiving healing, and it's about time for you. Let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Whoa! So with the Wheel of Fortune here, to me it feels like it's almost exactly what I was sensing the way I was talking just before I opened the card. To me, it feels like it's the cycles of life where, you go through phases, ups and downs, and now it's time for you to receive healing. I know, because with your note on the screen about general surgery, so if you're getting a referral and you're going to go into surgery for something and you're going through those processes, obviously it's all about health and healing. But the way I see it with the Wheel of Fortune here is that it's about time. It's about time for you to be on the receiving end of healing, as opposed to being the person who's always dishing out, doling out, and providing the healing. It's your turn. And it's like destiny, it's fate. It's very, very much in your favor. What's the challenge here, Tina? Okay, well, with the Queen of Swords here, again, swords, I understand that. There might be a deep fear, like what happens if the surgery goes wrong, or what happens, since it's probably elective. It's like, I don't know if you're going in for an emergency thing, but like when some people go into an emergency room or intensive care or something, certain surgeries may be performed when you're unconscious or when there's no permissions around. They're just literally doing emergency surgery to save the life. But there are all sorts of surgeries that are elective. Like you could have some very, very severe condition where surgery is an option that is available to you. And you have the right to refuse. You could say, you can go for a consultation. Oh, I'm going to get surgery. And you're looking to the referral, and then you decide, you know what? That's not for me. Okay, so with the Queen of Swords here, my feeling is that there's a sense of rejection, obviously, where I guess to me it almost feels like, is the surgery justified? Does it make sense? Is it radical and irreversible kind of thing? Are you essentially cutting yourself off from yourself, cutting parts of yourself off from yourself in order to survive? And then it's like the fear. I don't want to say this is the fear of surgery, but it's the fear of possibly what can go wrong with surgery, or fear of the consequences of surgery. Like if it's elective surgery, and elective health, and you're doing everything you can to optimize your health so that you can reclaim your life, because it is your turn. It's time for you now. It's really, really your time, okay? And it's like time to reclaim. So like you say, you've gone through multiple surgeries, okay? Also, you said Sun conjunct Neptune in the 12th house. So obviously health and healing is an extremely dominant subject matter in your life. To me, it feels like, I really don't want to do this. And it's almost like, am I going to sabotage myself because I'm so sick of surgeries and I'm so sick of having to face outcomes of what may or may not be? And no one's forcing me into this. And so you're left with your own human nature. Like, oh my God, am I actually considering going in, doing this for my own health and welfare? I mean, it sounds crazy, putting yourself under the knife willingly in order to heal yourself. It's quite different from somebody else putting you under the knife to heal you because it's a life-death emergency thing. Like right now, like you said, it's a like a recurring problem. Very frustrating. So how are we going to deal with this? Okay, courage, 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 people. The way I see it, I mean, to me, in a simplistic view, it would be so nice if you had some heroic, literally a male heroic figure who could be there to hold your hand through this. But what in sense I'm, it's like you're going to have to be your own superhero. You're going to have to put on the hat or the garb and the wardrobe of the King of Wands. This really powerful, majestic energy of supreme self-confidence, supreme, unequivocal knowing that all is good, all is going to be good, and everything will be good by decree. I decree that everything is good and it's going to be okay. Okay? Dogs count? So Tina, to me, I mean, so let me just go over here. I want a second. This is kind of personal. It feels to me, Tina, that you're going to have to be extremely self-reliant here, where nobody can go through your health situations for you. And even if this is just something that's been dragging on for years and it's still continuing, and it sucks every single time, okay? Every single time. How do you get through it? How do you get through the next chapter of your evolving health? It's like maintenance on a car, really. And all of us, if you think of your body as a vehicle, the more mileage you have, the more maintenance will be required. And that's just how it works. So with the King of Wands there for you, Tina, my feeling is that, you know what? I feel this is kind of personal. If you want to connect with me personally right at the time that this kind of stuff is happening, like a few hours before, a few hours after, or whatever, I'd be willing to be there for you as a male figure to sort of kind of be the representative of the King of Wands energy. It really has to come from you. And it really, I mean, you're the one who has to live through the surgery. You're the one who has to heal yourself with the aid of professionals. You're going to have to be your own superhero. But I am volunteering to be there on call for you at the time. So if you want to connect with me in private, I know you have my email, I have yours, and everyone has my email if you need it. Let me know how things go. And if you want to, we'll just do something on the, whatever, or a Zoom thing, whatever, okay? Just for fun. I've had to do quite a lot of, bedside work for a lot of people through my life when it comes to, health situations, so it's not unusual. And so, yeah. If you want to take me up on that offer, feel free to do so. Just give me times and days, and we'll follow up from there. Okay? Thanks, Tina. Yeah. But there's nothing like the distraction of having someone who has serious issues to distract me from my own issues. Yay! Get it? So in a way, I'm serving myself. All right, Gregory, you're up. Let's have a look here. Doop-de-doo. Alright, let's go over here. Mr. Ross, and then we have Ellie Mae. Now there's a couple people who are asking for readings tonight, but they're not familiar with the donation process, or there's a misunderstanding that they're just a bunch of free readings. Alright, now let me just shuffle this up, because Gregory wants a reading now. Let's have a look over here. Alrighty. Alright, let's have a look. Right, so we have, now Mr. Ross, if you have any notes for me, type it in the screen. Typically it's just one word. Otherwise I'll be more than happy to do a complete blind reading for you. Oh, Tina Miller. Maybe that's what you were talking about and I just didn't understand. Yes. Yes. Animals can have incredible influence over your healing. The love of an animal. If Charlie is one of your doggies and he's your hero, perhaps, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I can't imagine anyone in the surgery would allow Charlie to come in there with you. But yeah. Yeah. Charlie. Alright, let's have a look over here. I'm going to go over to, let's see, I'm going to scroll down. Okay, alright, we're ready to go. So, I don't see any notes from Gregory, so we're just going to go blind. Anything and everything can pop up here. Some of you folks who've been visiting for years know that Gregory has been with the channel for quite a long time. So we build up history, you know. I don't keep anything. Yes, I think so, Tina. I don't keep files of anything when I do for example, over the years I've done thousands of readings for people, and some of it all over the world, mostly America, Western Europe, English-speaking places. But I've done thousands, and what tends to happen, we have a reading or private reading. It goes into a recorded format, typically through my Zoom. And then those are files, and they're stored on my storage, and then they're sent to the client. And then I remind the client, please download this file. So the client downloads the file, and they own that reading. They now own it as a piece of intellectual property. And then within a matter of days, or maybe a week or two, I have to delete the file completely because my storage is pretty minimal, and I can't really afford high volume storage because some of these files are huge, and it would add up and not sustainable for me. So I don't keep records. Like, in other words, we do a reading, it's just like I met you for the first time, even though we have history. And that, in a way, that helps. It makes me feel like we're starting clean all the time, fresh. There's no baggage to worry about, okay? All right, let's get back to Gregory's reading. Hold on, wait a minute. What's that, Tina? No, that would be frowned on. Yeah, you can't really bring Charlie with you into the surgery. Oh, dear. Charlie is Sasha's brother. They will be 6 soon. Oh, that's substantial. So they're fully matured. That's a lot of energy. Charlie and Sasha, both 6 years old, both German Shepherds. Ava is just a little tiddly 14 months. And she is a real handful from the stories that you've been telling us, Tina. Heather, greetings over there in Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia area. It's been a long time. Actually, no, you've been visited recently. We did some very intense readings a few years ago. Do you remember that? Oh my God, those were intense. Let's have a look. All right, Mr. Ross. Let's get over here. Here we are. Cards are well shuffled. We took care of that during the little mini break. And we're going to go blind. I don't see any notes from Gregory. He's very gracious. He frequently lets me do a blind reading unless he has something very specific that needs attention. Ellie Mae, just hang in. You're going to be next after Gregory. Oh, never mind, that wasn't cute. Oh, okay. I wonder who I'm getting confused with. Anyway, Heather, thanks for dropping by. Jeepers, I really need to get this deck super clear. Give me another few seconds here, okay, Gregory? Alright, that's better. Alright, let's have a look. Alright, so here we go. Just going to do a very precise, even split here. I mean, as you know, the tarot isn't necessarily the most precise thing. It's kind of like mysterious, magical. Okay, here's the situation. It's the same old spread all the time, situational spread. It's a powerful diagnostic tool. In a way, I don't think there's anything like, weird about what we do here. To me, this just is perfectly normal. Doing readings for people is just perfectly normal for me. If I had a different way to run things and live a life, I could do 5 readings a day. 3 or 4 or 5 mini readings per day. Just with this one spread. This little spread has got me through so much. It's incredible. Here's the situation. Let's get back to Mr. Ross. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges with the situation. Here's how we're going to handle the situation. Let's have a look at external influences. Could be the planet, whatever. Okay? So we've got Three of Pentacles here. Very much about, I would say, teamwork here. It makes me feel like this is very strongly to do with the Scorpio-Taurus axis of money and other people's money. If I recall, recently we've been talking about money issues anyway, so this doesn't surprise me at all that we'd be having resonant themes about the subject of money. It's a it is like the #1 theme on planet Earth right now. Money, finances, stocks, investments, money owed, money due, all that kind of stuff. This is the house of other people's money, the South Node energy, where humanity is being woken up to the idea is that you can't just simply trust people who present themselves as high-powered money managers, investment opportunities, and custodians of your personal wealth based on your money, your hard-earned money. What needs to happen right now with the nodal axis here with the North Node in Taurus, it's very, very important that humanity takes more charge and more responsibility and more ownership for their own outcomes regarding their own finances. For example, it's very, very common, like on YouTube, for people to go around to lots of thousands of financial channels where there's someone who's telling you, come over here, send me all your money to do this and this and this, and I'll show you how to become a multimillionaire. And it could be anything, like some kind of scam web thing, some kind of crypto thing, some kind of apparently high-powered precious metals portfolio, some kind of real estate thing, some kind of multi-level market, affiliate marketing thing, where you trust someone and something else outside of you to make you richer than you are already. Where in fact a lot of the times your money is just going that way and vaporizing. Now, I'm not talking about this specifically with you, Gregory. I'm just highlighting the North Node theme the way I feel it is. And so when you apply this to yourself, the way I see it, it's really time to take in both sides of the equation when it comes to your personal finances. Like, you can't be the one who's always working and earning and putting out money and spending money. And you can't also expect anyone and everyone else to be basically honorable and minding their own business about finances. It's like, to me, it feels like this is the very, very awkward energy of like teamwork. Regarding finances, work, future projects, future life intentions, it's understanding that gosh, how am I going to do this? Damn. It's about making sure that whatever relationships and alliances you have with other people, and it involves your money, whether you owe them or they owe you, or whether it's joint ventures or business enterprise or something, it's really, really important to find a way to see it as a team effort. In other words, it would be very dangerous to blindly trust someone or something else that presents themselves or carries themselves as an authority or a trustworthy custodian. The way I see this, that's a very high risk perception to carry. And instead, what would be, let's say, healthy and appropriate is to understand like that there are so many things that you have to do in life where you have to engage and relate with other people or under other institutions regarding money. And for things to be successful and healthy and workable, there has to be trust. Preferably 100% absolute trust. But if you look at the world financial system, you will see that the concept and the availability of trust is extremely lacking. Very, well, let's say, diminished or corrupted right now. And so it means, to me it feels like it's two stories in one, like where you have to be willing to trust third-party entities. Anyway, even though trusting third-party entities regarding other people's money, in other words, if you put your money into an investment or something, trusting that they know more than you do and they're going to make more out of it than you can, that can be a very precarious mindset. But it works really, really well for companies and financial institutions that present themselves as, custodians of money, where you give me all your money and I will look after it, and then you will have even more money later on. Just, I would say, be very careful of that. Even though, like I said earlier, for almost everybody on earth, you have to have a certain degree of trust with third-party institutions. Like in America, pretty much everyone has to have a bank account. Not everybody has one, but a lot of people do because they have to. Some people don't want bank accounts because they have zero trust in the banking system, and they would rather work through cash remittances, taking their earnings, cashing them out at a MoneyGram place or something like that, and paying very high fees to get pure self-contained trust where you're not worried about trusting other people. But it costs. So most people in the end, they elect to have bank accounts where you are trusting the bank. But today, Mr. Ross, if you've noticed that there's a lot of fragility in the banking world, okay? But again, still have to trust. Like it's almost better to have multiple bank accounts. And if you smell something fishy, just keep moving around. It's also great and helpful to have cash on hand of your own. It's also great, like going forward, to do like good groundwork, good homework with any future commitments, financial relationships, contracts, jobs, gigs, or whatever it might be, to make sure that the financial side is as trustworthy and credible as can possibly be, and then essentially you operate as a team effort rather than there's you and there's them and there's just a concrete wall in between. Okay? Hi, Diana. See. All right, now let's see what the situation itself. Oh, sorry, a little bit more about the Three of Pentacles here for you, Gregory. I also feel the energy of reconciliation. It could be like now is a really good time to reconcile your finances. Basically, like distilling and boiling everything down to what works and what doesn't work, and then be done with it. Okay? In other words, if this, and this, and this, and this didn't work or doesn't work or is never going to work, then essentially it's a write-off. If this, and this, and this, and this works, then be grateful for that and focus all the energy on what is good. And go forward from there. What's the situation? Let's have a look. Perfect. 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 It's time to recalibrate, restart, a whole new perspective on your personal finances. Ace of Pentacles here. Number one, of course, makes me feel like it's time to do housekeeping, homework, abandoning, let's think about the subject of collections. Whatever you can't collect right now, it might be a write-off. But it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of your life or anything like that. Instead, you just collect what you can collect reasonably, ethically, without extreme cost to yourself. Sometimes it's not worth the cost of collecting on certain bad debt, on certain bad contracts. But you go forward anyway, knowing that in future, it's very important to screen any future contracts with future business of any kind, partnerships, jobs of any kind, in such a way that you have a much more solid, let's say, perhaps even a written agreement about the financial structure of a situation or a relationship, rather than just taking things for granted or making assumptions. So, very, very much about new starts and new beginnings. I don't see this as just luck and money falling into your lap, which would be nice. To me, it feels much more that this is about grabbing the opportunity now while there's a lot of instability out there with global finances, and including your own perhaps in some way, to grab this opportunity to reformat, refigure everything in such a way that's much simpler and much healthier. What's the problem here? Okay, so when I see the Temperance here, I mean, it's not a love card, but do you see the cups here? There's a tremendous amount of healing energy that flows with the Temperance card. And when I see this card in relation to here, it makes me feel that if we're honest about things, excuse me, I've got my eyes are itching here. I took some antihistamines so I wouldn't be sneezing and itching. My feeling here is that there's a part of you deep down which is very deeply scarred regarding personal finances, and whether you will ever heal or ever recover from the damage that has been done either to you or from yourself to yourself out of innocence and just inexperience or lack of, let's say, experience about how devious the financial world can be and how people can misrepresent themselves, and how it's so easy to be defrauded and undermined financially. And if you have suffered anything like that, and it's left deep scars and deep wounds to the point where you're wondering if there's ever any hope that there will be healing regarding finances, that's perfectly understandable. But life goes on. You are a vibrant, robust character who will continue. And this story looks like very much new starts, new beginnings with finances, even though you may have been, let's face it, deeply wounded in the past, and very reluctant to be wounded again, and very uncertain about whether there will ever be any healing or reconciliation. It's perfectly understandable. So how do we go forward with that? Oh, this is beautiful. We got the Two of Wands here. I think this works beautifully with the Ace of Pentacles. To me, it feels like Really, it's really time to look forward to new starts and new beginnings, charting out a whole new life path. You're still at the very, very early days. It's still you, Mr. Gregory Ross, looking forward to your life and your world, but understanding that, life is a journey, and you've come so far in the journey, and no matter how much pain you've endured to this point, there is still hope, there's still future, there's still optimism. It's almost like forget about the past. Some of it you can't heal, you'll never fix it. It'll be a permanent wound, a permanent non-healing wound. But that does not cripple you, that does not stop you from living your life. It's more like war wounds. You know how people, have you ever, when I did that when I was a kid a lot. I ended up in a lot of trouble when I was a kid, and you can't really tell, but I have different scarring on my hands and bits and pieces here that I didn't ask for from when I was a child. And the energy field of those wounds are still inside me today. But there's no way those people are going to take me down physically, psychologically, emotionally, whatever. I'm too much for that. I have the healing power of love on my side. It's almost like I'm indestructible. Of course I'm human and I will fizzle out at some point. But like a lot of people who come to this channel, they've had some serious damage and pain and suffering in their lives. But they're still going. So I'm trying to convey here with you, Gregory, that it feels to me with the reading, you're at this point where, let's face it, you've been burned, seriously burned. You've trusted people that were not worthy of your trust. You were deliberately played by people who, let's say, were aware of your innocence or your purity or your willingness to trust other people, and you were exploited. Okay. Part of life, living and learning. But going forward, you can take that all as history, as learning, as battle scars. Like guys do that at a bar or something, like, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea what it's like. You think your car crash was bad, man? Let me tell you, my car crash was 10 times worse than yours. Look at this thing. Look what happened to my back, my neck. I had to go to hospital. I had 8 surgeries. What did you have? A broken knee? A bruised nose? Right. It's like battle wounds. Pride. Like the more wounds you have, the more pride you are. Proud of your wounds. Don't take it too far, obviously. I'm just playing around here, exaggerating a little bit. All right, so my feeling is you're at that point where, yeah, you've got a bunch of battle wounds, battle scars, and you have every reason to have, let's say, a deep fear about the future, about any future financial enterprises or activities where there could be possible reconciliation. But the point is, I think with this reading is don't even expect it, and don't even get involved in situations where there's even the remotest chance of, let's say, breach of trust. In other words, to me this looks like a real simplification of your life. Like downsize everything into things that are very simple and that work. Anything that smells fake, phony, or not workable, forget about it. No, it's not going to work. Sorry. And you don't have to apologize. You don't have to be a volunteer to give away your life energy, your life services for healing others just because you can, or perhaps that you've done already. Instead, keep it simple. Go forward, understanding there's no clear roadmap as yet, but you've got to start somewhere. And starting somewhere means recalibrating in a way that's much more pure and much more simple and radically more aware so that your chances of getting burned and let's say unwittingly let's say unable to collect or something like that, or unserved, or where client relationships went wrong. It's going forward now. It just needs to be very simple. Now, simple is not easy. For example, if you have a situation in front of you which is very stark, simple, and very straightforward, and it obviously has good financial implications for you, and let's say you're deeply concerned about any risk to yourself, understandable. But if it can be, let's say, structured in such a way that it's very simple, like a one-sheet agreement between yourself and another person, or yourself and an institution, or yourself and a client, or whatever, keep it super, super simple. Like, oh, I'm Gregory Ross. In order for us to continue, I need this deposit, and we have a contingency. Like, if things work out really well, I get a percentage of this, I get a percentage of that. Simple. Really, really, really simple stuff. If it doesn't work, I don't owe you anything, and you don't owe me anything, and we're done. Okay, thank you very much. No battle, no open room for miscommunication, misunderstandings, and retributions. None of that stuff. To me, this looks all about rebuilding the future in a much simpler, much more, let's say, blunt. To me, it looks very, very blunt. You know, like, not rude, but just blunt. Like, you're Gregory Ross, you're going out there living your life. It's going to involve money some way or another. Future contracts, future work, future relationships, whatever it might be. And because you've suffered war wounds and you've got life experience enough to be able to discern, you already know a lot about what does not work. Okay, let's put it that way. And you can say that cheerfully. Listen, I know a lot about what does not work. And there's only a few things that actually work. And that's where we're going to operate. What works is this, this, and this. Keep it really, really simple. Just the facts, just the information. Okay? Super, super, super simple. If it's work, contracts, and business, I need a deposit, I need a retainer. Sorry, if you can't put that up, then you'll have to look elsewhere. Goodbye. And then you could go off and have a beer or mow the lawn or something, or hang out, go skiing, you know. And if someone else comes along and says, hey, Gregory, I need you for blah, blah, blah. And you say, well, okay, so this is it. It's a really simple agreement. Retainer for this, a deposit for that, percentage for this and this on success. And they go, okay, that's it. Straightforward. Then you get on with it. Basically, you're not allowed to do anything that doesn't work. All right, let's go back here. It's interesting. Money seems to be a theme tonight. Well, maybe not. All right, Ellie Mae, you're up. Did I say hello, Diana? I see you there. All right, let's have a look. Okay, that card jumped around. I don't know if that's going to show up later, but it felt very weird to me. All right, let's have a look. Cheers, Ellie Mae. Now, I'm going to have to look through their chat. Ellie Mae, did you leave any notes for me? If you did, I'm going to try and go back through the chat to see if you said anything earlier. Give me a second here. Oh, okay, I've got it. All right, Elliot, it says, my question is, how will the situation with my residents play out? Okay, good enough. Let's have a look. Okay, so what's the situation with Ellie Mae and her residents? Are you coming? Are you going? Let me have a look. Actually, I want to read that again. Give me a second. Stay there, Ellie Mae. Don't go away. It's way up here somewhere. How will the situation with my residents play out? Okay. How will the situation with her residents play out? Good enough. That's a pretty decent way to phrase and package and ask a question. Cards are well shuffled. YouTube is telling me we've got an excellent connection. That's pretty good. Sometimes it gets pretty bumpy. Let's have a look here. Hold on. Put that over here. Clickety click. I'm just playing around with the software so I can actually do this. Okay. Got it. Got it. I see you, Ellie Mae. I got it. Okay, we're going to do this. Let's have a look. Okay, Ellie Mae, I just have a weird thing that just happened to me. And it's like this. I'll see if it just validate. You know, it might not mean anything, but it was sort of like this. Like when we started coming to the point where it's your reading, I felt this kind of energy like this, like, oh, yeah. Just a little bit, you know. It might not even be very physical, but that's what I felt coming here. And it's from you. And also at the same time, I felt that, like, again, I'm going out on the fringes here, but felt like you're kind of wearing a lightweight top, blousey kind of thing, maybe light colored with flowery patterns or something, loose and comfortable, flowy, and it would make you feel very comfortable and kind of fluid. If you are wearing something like that and that kind of makes sense to you, would you let me know? Just for fun. This is just for fun. Okay? It's not part of the reading or anything. All right, let's have a look. What's going on over here? All right, so I'm going to keep shuffling. I was shuffling earlier, but we're going to keep going. Get Ellie Mae her reading here. Light blue. Necessary truth is chiming in. Light blue. Okie dokie. All right, here we go, Ellie Mae. What's going on? What's this? What kind of messages do we have here for Ellie Mae tonight about her residence? Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look over here. All right. Moving on, people. So with the Six of Swords here, sometimes... Look at the screen, everybody. Look at the chat, everybody. Ellie Mae Are you aware that Necessary Truth is here, and Necessary Truth is a psychic medium? Ha, 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 ha. Gotcha. That's what I'm wearing right now. Necessary is looking for absolute validation now. All right, so Ellie Mae, I'm going to get on with your reading here. With the Six of Swords here, to me this is a very strong indication of moving on, or you're thinking of moving on, or you're being forced to move on. Okay? Also, when I see this, the Six of Swords here, to me it feels like there's a huge amount of mental consideration pouring into the idea, the whole concept, the phenomenon of residence. Like, what does residence mean to you? Oh gosh. Oh, there's what do they call it? Moderator, please destroy the destroyer. I've got to, oh God. Oh, thank you. Loose and flowy. I knew it. I could see it very vividly. Tiny white flowers all over with yellow sharp stickers. Oh my God. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Loose and flowy. Yep, got it. Thank you, Necessary. We're being attacked. Everybody watching the show right now, if you're not aware of it, I don't know if you can see it on the chat, but there's this troll that's coming and attacking the channel. I've already written to YouTube about it. They've done nothing. They can't help me. I've already done all the technical stuff in channel management. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going, people. Being forced yet. Okay, really. Yeah. Being forced. Yeah. Okay. So, to me, this is not something that I would worry about. In the grand scheme of things, when I see this Six of Swords here, and you're asking about your residence and life and everything, even if, like you're saying, like I was saying, like you might be getting pushed to leave and move, this, in some ways, I'm not going to promise it, but it could be like a blessing, okay? All right? It might be to your advantage. Like I said, like you say on the notes there, we have a lease and she's trying to break it. Sometimes it's I'm not going to tell you how to live your life or run your business or anything like that. But sometimes nature works in such a way that we are forced into a situation that deep down at the soul level we know we have to experience, but we wouldn't choose it voluntarily. Okay? Just to share with you, Ellie Mae, like 2 years ago, I had to go through this vicious experience with my little apartment in Los Angeles on Venice Beach. It was my home for many years, and I love it there, but things became very contentious, and let's say nature intervened in such a way where I really had no option but to give up my home. And now I'm living a completely new life. It was a brutal experience. But it's also very liberating. Okay? I just wanted to throw that in there. All right, Ellie Mae. So, with this Six of Swords here, it looks very much like circumstances, like let's say the planetary influences, however you want to describe it, are very much about moving on for whatever reason. Now let's say you've got an established situation, and like you say here on the thing, you've got nowhere to go. Okay, so you would be perfectly entitled to feel extreme panic. Like, I had nowhere to go, but now I have somewhere where I am. I got there and here I am. And then you get, if you're used to domestic stability, and then so-called fate intervenes, I would call it the planets just align a certain way, where events happen in such a way where you are being forced. She's trying to break it. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to break it, okay? So, remember, this is a situational spread. It's like the Situation Room at the White House, okay? They basically lay everything out on a table and say, this is the situation. And then the president comes in and he has a hotline to Lumination and a handful of top people in the administration. And they all look at each other and the president says, okay, well, this is what we got. So what are we going to do? Here's the situation. This, and this, and this, and this is bad. That, and that is potentially good. But how are we going to get from the bad to the good? This is the situation. Okay, everybody give me your ideas. You. How do you see the situation? You. How do you see the situation? So Ellie Mae, it's like you're going to have to be the president of your life and live through a Situation Room experience where, in a very, very neutral manner, it might be an idea to take a snapshot of your life right now and say, you know what, okay, well, there's all this pressure with a lease and this person is trying to break it. Okay, fine. Is this a battle that you want to fight? Is it a battle that is worth fighting? In other words, to protect your residence, to protect your lease and all of that stuff? Something to consider. Weigh it up. Let's say things get very difficult and you are effectively, somehow or other the other person prevails and they find a way to break the lease and you're ending up stuck and a victim of somebody who has malicious intent. Rather than being a victim, maybe it could be like, okay, if this is how it's going to be, watch this. Now, if you're used to a certain lifestyle and residence that has this many components, this much quality of life, things that you love, habits, patterns, your nest, your residence is where you sleep and everything. And that is being disrupted, radically disrupted right now. Most people would never willingly give up their nest unless they're forced to. Some people do it as a business, like people go through real estate and property. They move in someplace, they upgrade it, they flip it, and then they move on, and so on and so on. But this seems to be different. Okay? So, if it is a situation where, if you're honest with yourself, the instability is so great and the pressure is so great from the other person that it could be like a hidden blessing, and then it's like, wow. So it forces you to strip everything away that you don't need. And when I saw this very early on in the reading, I mentioned the word downsizing. Okay, now it doesn't mean living a life of poverty and misery. When I talk about downsizing, it means like simplifying, like finding a way to live cheaper and better and perhaps somewhere else. Downsizing, like if there's a lease involved, that's probably more like a rental. So you might not have any equity in your residence right now. So maybe it's time to consider a whole new way to house yourself, to nest yourself. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay, ultimately, dear Ellie Mae, this Temperance card here tells me that ultimately this is for your good. And it's very, to me it feels like there's an awareness of potential deep pain and fear and suffering here. But it's ultimately something to do with healing yourself in some way. For example, if you are one of these types of people who is extremely, let's say, earthbound, materially bound to your physical life, like money, jobs, career, residence, clothes, vacations, savings, income, to all that kind of like the real physical realities of life. And then something comes along, like it doesn't make any sense. You've just put the word purging. It can be an incredible blessing. It can be an incredible healing experience where you release everything to the universe. You release everything and treat it as a healing experience, and almost like a blessing. Okay, I'm not saying that you have to give in to this person who's trying to break the lease, but instead, if there are these monumental pressures on you, external pressures to break the lease, maybe there's a hidden message like, wow, this could be very liberating. Okay? Ellie Mae, I'm just seeing the next thing. I've been doing that, but I can't find anything affordable. Okay? Here's another way to look at it. There's nothing that's affordable. Housing oneself, providing shelter for yourself is the biggest expense that most people have in their life. I watch a lot of financial channels and from these like alternative but very advanced money people who are all about money and the reality of money as opposed to the illusions and deceptions and theft that goes on in the world of money. The people where I connect, they are all about preserving yourself, protecting your money, protecting your privacy, and protecting yourself. Now, for example, if you're in a situation where you're in a town or a city or a state where your income is very specific to that location, like let's say you have a job or a career that has a certain income level, and you have to find a way to live within that level. When you say there's nothing affordable, okay, this is going to sound awful, but affordable at the standard of living to which you are accustomed or to which you would like to maintain going forward. Again, I mentioned the word downsizing. Sometimes it helps to, you might be in a situation where even the cheapest, lowest stuff in the area where you're looking is still really expensive. Then we do have a problem, okay? And it might be worth contesting. But for the time being, it looks like you said, there is a purging and there is pressure. Now, that person who's trying to force the breakage of the lease, that sounds like it's very aggressive and it's very much geared to their advantage at your disadvantage, or your immediate apparent disadvantage. So we have to take that into account. What's the problems here? Okay. So with the Strength card here, my feeling is that you're kind of dealing with an internal battle that is almost like the situation with your residence is triggering a very deep internal spiritual battle between yourself and yourself. Like, who am I and what do I really want? Who am I? How do I explain my life in a spiritual perspective compared to the material physical reality of my life? And it almost feels like you're being tested to see if you can go through it's almost like I'm scared to use the word, but a very humble, almost humiliating experience of having to basically give up the fight and look for an alternative. It's very, very frightening. The way I see it, it's quite frightening. And how would that make sense on the spiritual level at all? I can't ignore the temperance here because it makes me feel as though there's something purposeful and meaningful about all this. There might be something bigger going on here as well, besides your residence. This moving on might include a whole lifestyle, where, the whole job market in America, for example. I don't know if you're in America, Ellie Mae. It sounds like it's an American name. But there are radical, profound differences in local economies across America. Let's say you're in America. For example, pretty much everybody knows that the cost of living over here in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, New York, Boston, Atlanta, parts of Chicago, it's extreme, okay? Oh, Ellie Mae, let me read your notes here. Hold on, it says here, there's more to the backstory, but I gave up something very affordable to accommodate her moving away. It didn't work out for her, so now she wants her house back. Oh, whoa. I had to close my business so that I could afford to live here. Oh my God. Hold on a minute, Ellie Mae. I could afford to live here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it sounds like you're really being tested, and someone, for you, honestly, Ellie Mae, for you to accommodate someone in the way that you accommodated that person, you're in Canada, okay. There's more than time. I gave up something very affordable to accommodate her moving away. Okay. In that you accommodated her moving away, it sounds like you did someone a very, very big favor based on trust. Okay, we've talked about that a lot tonight. Other people's money, trusting in other people's situation, trusting in other people's stories, trusting in other people's promises. That's what banks do. That's what investment companies do. That's what certain crypto assets do. And then trust is broken. Okay? It didn't work out for her, so now she wants her house back. I had to close my business so that I could afford to live here. You're in Canada. Wow. Oh, wow. So it's almost like a guilt. It feels almost like a guilt thing here. Like, if you hold on to your, let's say, graciousness, like, I did this for you. I gave up something very affordable to accommodate you, and you're moving away. Now your situation didn't work out, so now you want the house back, and I had to close the business to do that, so I could afford to live here. it seems very egregious that this other person is now basically demanding their house back because of their failures. And then you're put in this position where it's almost like they're trying to guilt you into breaking an agreement because they are the one that's struggling. That's awful. Oh, Ellie Mae, that's just awful. And you got that on paper. I was told I could have this house for 10 years. Okay. If that's on paper, wow. So you're getting a really... Oh God. I see your notes there, Ellie Mae. Okay, so with the Strength card here, it makes me feel as though you're being very spiritually challenged in what is like spiritual integrity of heart. Like, it seems like you've already extended yourself so far to accommodate the other person because you could. And you basically got screwed over by someone who was perhaps naive and innocent and a little bit, let's say, manipulative or opportunistic, and they saw that opportunity in you. Okay, I haven't pulled this card yet. Okay, Ellie Mae, just for a little bit of comfort here, I'm just going to go off on a tangent for a moment and share some of my own sob stories. Okay. I've had a lot of experience over many years of dealing with tenants and joint agreements with people cohabiting. Sometimes there's really good people and you don't even need a paper agreement. Sometimes you can have all the paper agreements in the world and these people that you trusted turn out to be really vicious, nasty, and they are going through a life learning experience at your expense. And because shelter is such a huge part of many people's existence and overheads and expenses, when things go wrong for the other party and they feel that they can project the solution and the cost onto you, then you have a major problem. If you have a lawyer, okay, remember lawyers cost money. Okay, so you got to do like a, what's it called? There's an expression where you have to do an evaluation, the cost of defending yourself versus the cost of letting go. Okay. Ellie Mae says that this was a friend. And now Ellie Mae is saying, I think she knew what she was doing. Some people would say she knew exactly what she was doing. Some people would say this person, this so-called friend, was using you and now is using you. And because all roads forward seem to be blocked for this other person, they're going back and they're turning on you. Bad, bad, bad. Bad, bad news. So I had many years of doing okay with tenants, but in some ways I was destroyed by 2 tenants. And I had to give up everything. I had to give up what I had. Even though legally I was in the right. I was not in a position to continue. That's all there was to it. All right, let's get back to Ellie Mae here. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Okay, let's have a look going forward. What have we got? Wow. Okay, so I've got the 4 of Cups here. To me, this looks like more of like a tap on the shoulder from your angels. Like a little bit of comfort coming to you from your angels, where the message is like, see if I can act this out. Like, to me, it feels like there's a message from the angels, from your invisible friends, whoever it is in the great beyond who's there for you and who wants your best life for you, okay? So it says here your lawyer is a friend and he's doing a favor by defending you. Okay, that's great. But again, how far can you take all this stuff? So when I see the Four of Cups here, to me it feels like it's not. How am I going to describe this? To me, it feels like the Four of Cups for you in this reading is about how you need to perceive yourself and remind yourself that all is not lost. It's like you have every reason to be grieving, to be frightened, to be angry, and to want legal, let's say, justice. And so be it. If your friend is obviously no longer a friend if they are turning on you in that way. So with the Four of Cups, it made me feel as though the story is not over yet. Like tonight in this reading, it feels very vivid, very precise. Here is the situation. You got your friend, so-called friend, no longer a friend, trying to break a lease, a 10-year agreement. You have an agreement. If it's on paper and it's signed, then that is absolute. And then the other person has to deal with the karma and the consequences of their behavior. So I'm not going to tell you the future is that you will prevail in justice against this friend who is now an enemy. All I'm suggesting with the reading here is that to me it feels like there's a big hug coming around your shoulder from your invisible friends to remind you that it's very natural and very obvious for you to be wrapped up in grief, suffering, and misery, like, well, what was I thinking? How did I get into this? Okay, how did this happen? Poor me, how did I do this? And now I'm in a situation where I am having to fight and protect myself after having helped another person. But I think what the invisible friends are basically reminding you is that you have love on your side. And that even though Tarot Illumination started the reading like with Six of Swords, like moving on, moving on, moving on, I feel like I'm kind of scared to be any more defined in this reading, because I'm very tempted to say that it might be there's the energy of moving on, and it might be something to do with your ex-friend. Like it's time for them to move on. Either way, the Six of Swords is about moving on and leaving something and somewhere behind, and moving on to perhaps a new destiny in a future that is not clearly defined. Now that may not be you. It may be that you are absolutely being who you are, the way you need to be, exactly in the right time, at the right place, for the right reasons. And it's a very healing thing for you to go through this experience. Can you see what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to reconfigure the reading in such a way that it is a liberating experience. It is allowing you freedom to move on and move forward by releasing anything and everything that is toxic and unhealthy and leaving that all behind. And when you look at the reading that way and understand that love abides, love rules, then it's almost like there is hope So, this looks like a really ambiguous way to leave a reading, but it's like, if you look at the Four of Cups, understand a huge amount of your energy is being sucked up and drawn into the emotions and the scary feelings of what's not working. Now you do have, it looks like you've got a plan in mind to deal with this, and it makes a lot of sense, okay? It's like in your notes here. She left the house filthy, disgusting. She knew you'd clean it up, and you did. Your biggest concern is that I hope I find safe, affordable housing or apartment, which is basically telling everybody else on the screen here that you've already decided to walk away and accommodate your ex-friend. And now she is saying that she wants to sell this house, but she can't sell it while I'm here. So you're dealing with that ambiguity, but that's her problem. Yeah, obviously she's trying to intimidate you. I think she was just trying to piggyback and ride, take advantage of your good nature, because that's the sort of person she is. Maybe she's, I don't want to go, I'm scared to go deeper into this, because you're getting into very specific, like, contractual stuff. So, to me, like with four of Cups going forward, it makes me feel like it's emotionally challenging for you, because there's part of you where you're already more than ready, willing, and able to walk away if you could simply just find something affordable and simple and just be done with it. Goodbye, friend. Goodbye, ex-friend. Keep your house. I don't care whatever you do with it. But that's not what's happening. You are now in a situation yourself where you have rights for yourself. You've invested. You've got legal help. And you're now being undermined by someone who is very treacherous. Just look at the astrology for today. That's all. And to me, it feels like it's almost extending, like, oh my God, I'm going to feel so guilty because I'm going to protect my money, protect my privacy, and protect myself. And then I'm going to end up feeling guilty for being loving, for doing the most loving thing. Maybe the most loving thing you can do is, fight this thing legally and stick absolutely to the word of the law. Oh man. Looks to me from your notes here that you were very kind, very sweet, very accommodating. The other, okay. Yeah. Okay, this whole thing looks like it's up in the air because you've put very, very specific timestamps on the situation. At the close of this reading, we have the Four of Cups, and my feeling is that it's an understanding that your invisible friends know that you're dealing with an emotionally very turbulent situation, because it involves your shelter and your welfare and your ability to sleep at night and protect your daughter. And all of this stuff happened at the behest of your friend, who is no longer your friend. Your friend is now your enemy. Okay? So it's still very, very much in play. But with the Four of Cups going forward, it's to understand that the healing power of love is like the energy field that's out there for you ultimately. And the Temperance card about the situation itself is ultimately that this whole situation is about self-healing. It's even more about healing than it is about shelter and accommodation. That sounds very weird, but that's probably a very long-term look at the situation. Ellie Mae, this looks like a very inconclusive reading. And of course, I'm not a fortune teller. All I'm doing is really acting as an instrument of the healing power of love. All I do is read the cards as a form of like a weather report. But it's up to the individual what they do and how they do it. So this looks to me like a very open-ended, inconclusive reading. And I would highly recommend that you keep in touch with me randomly in the near future, because you're talking about August as a timestamp. And sometimes I've had to work very intimately, closely with clients over the years regarding situations like this. And it's really just about maintaining your perspective and your equilibrium and your integrity so that you do not fall further into being a victim. You have rights, okay? You have the right to protect your money, protect your privacy, protect yourself, even if it feels like you're going to war with a person who was your friend, and that you are harming someone who was your friend. Okay, to me this looks like a very difficult situation. And oh, the cats as well. Oh my gosh. So this story is not over, okay? I'm not doing any more readings. That's it for tonight. If you want a private reading, Anjali Joshi, if you want a private reading, I'll do you a private mini reading, but it won't be tonight, okay? You can do donations. Look at what the notes are from Necessary Truth. Ellie Mae, honestly, I can't help you much more at this moment in time because the reading looks like it's open-ended, and it's more like, don't worry, Ellie Mae, your invisible friends are here. You are loving and you are loved. But it's very understandable that you are sucked into the emotional discomfort of the situation. But this story is clearly not over. So Ellie Mae, I don't know how you want to do it. If you want to do it, I'd be very happy to do like little tiny incremental follow-up readings with you over the next few months as this unfolds. It's just a way to get like perspective and equilibrium for yourself when you're dealing with this person and with the lawyer and yourself. And there's a lot of swirling energy around this, okay? I wish I could have a more conclusive ending for you, but I don't feel it. To be honest, it looks like it's really up in the air, and we're going to have to work on this further on down the road as things develop. Okay? Yeah, it's difficult, but it's totally doable, okay? This is what I do here. I work with clients where I've had to work with them like continuously, 1 or 2 readings a week just to get them through whatever they're getting through. It doesn't have to cost a fortune either. I can do things like very incrementally. So don't worry about that side of it, okay? Thanks, Ellie Mae. I'm glad you felt safe and comfortable enough to bring your situation to the stage here tonight. Basically to the healing room, which is kind of what it is. Anjali Joshi, I'm going to follow. So Ellie Mae, good night. Thank you very much. We'll follow up. If you want to follow up, again, there's this. You can go to my email directly. And there's this, where you can go to terralumination.com and get to me through there. And, you know, there's a page that talks about readings. And they're obviously more expensive because they're private one-on-one. But I could probably find a way to do little micro readings. And they would be 100% private, okay? If that would help you. Okay, I'm just offering that. All right, so Angela Joshi, I'm not doing any more readings tonight. I can't take it anymore. My voice feels very fragile. And I don't think I would help much anyway. But I would love to offer you a reading. It's not a gift. What I'd like to say is if you want to have a reading, Anjali, go to tarotlumination.com. You can go to the readings page and work directly from there. And the connect page, you can go from there. Or we could do it simpler. You could just donate like 10, 20 bucks or something. And give me your email and a few notes and I will make a mini reading for you. If you want a live person to person, then it's a little bit more, obviously. So anyway, I'll leave it up to you. It's totally your call. Thank you for asking. Okay, Anjali? Thank you for asking. And thank you, Necessary Truth, for your, let's say, support and your interventions tonight. It's really, really helped me a lot. Good night, Ellie Mae. Good night, everybody else. I'm really going to wrap out of here very quickly now tonight. Going to do a little bit of musica. I love me. I'm a musician. It's not over, okay, people? The show is not over. Keep in touch. Thanks very much for being here. Love thyself. Okay, love thyself. Don't be ashamed. No apologies.